A little cool and cloudy here from downtown Seattle tonight, but the roof is open, pleasant overall. For game 2 of this 3-game series, the Mariners and the Houston Astros. The Mariners playing some awfully good baseball right now. 8 wins in their last 11. Trying to get a win here tonight and a series win against the last place Houston Astros. Mike Capel, we take a look at the starting lineup for A.J. Hinch for the Astros tonight.
It all starts with Jose Altuve, the leadoff hitter. A couple of hits last night. He leads the club with 9 stolen bases so far. Then you have Carlos Correa hitting third. He's 1 for 3 in his career against Carnes. The Astros saw Carnes last year. Preston Tucker did not play last night. Back in the lineup hitting 5th. He's also 1 for 3. And then Carlos Gomez in last night's ball game 2 for 4 with an RBI. For Carnes on the year, this will be his 4th start. 1-1 record, 5.28 ERA. In 15 1/3, he has 18 strikeouts. Good number for him. 9 walks. That's a little bit high for him. Opponents hitting .279. He's giving up 3 home runs. Take a look at our American Family Insurance defensive setup for the Mariners. Franklin Gutierrez normally in right. He will be in left, and the reason why, Aoki in center field. Martin getting his first day off. Dae-Ho Lee will play first base. For Carnes in his last outing, it was against the Cleveland Indians. Again, the 4 walks is what he wants to stay away from. But 5 1/3, just gave up 5 hits, 4 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts. He threw 92 pitches.
It really seemed like in Carnes' last start on the road that after the first 3 or even 4 innings, he really seemed like he would be on pace to work further into the 6th inning, maybe even to touch the 7th, and then one of those bigger innings got away.
And that's one of the things that's been a little bit confusing about him. And talk about his pitch count, the 92 to get through 5 1/3, Aaron, is in his first 3 starts, you're absolutely right. He'll go out, but he'll have an inning where he'll throw around 30 pitches an inning, and it hurts him. So his fastball command tonight is going to be important. He has one of the best curveballs in the league, but he has to be able to get to it. He also makes in a changeup. His fastball 91 to 93.
Right away to face Jose Altuve, the leadoff man for the Astros. Altuve, a couple of hits last night. We're used to seeing that. Altuve swinging a hot bat right now. 7 for his last 16. Astros in last place in the West. Just 6 wins. 14 losses. Not what many expected. Carnes comes home with the first pitch of the night. No surprise. Altuve swings to his counterpart Cano. Out number 1. A little bit of a cool night here from inside Safeco Field. Last night 56 degrees at first pitch. Tonight just under 60 degrees. 59 as we get things going. 1 up 1 down on 1 pitch. Good start for Carnes. He now faces George Springer in the midst of a somewhat modest 5-game hitting streak. Interesting when you think about last night's game from the Astros perspective. Houston came up with 10 hits. In fact, they had 6 more hits than the Mariners did, but they ended up striking out over 10 times. Normally when you think about a team that would have 10 hits, you would think that they wouldn't miss as many times as they did, but Taijuan Walker electric, 11 punch outs. He tied a career high.
Well, as you look at the Astros, they are 3rd in the American League in hits, and they lead the league in strikeouts.
Taijuan a career high 118 pitches. Marte, a low pick. Round number 2. Couple of ground ball outs for Carnes to get things going. Now facing Carlos Correa.
The Astros 6th in the league in runs scored, and they do it by hitting the ball out of the ballpark. They're 1st in home runs and 1st in stolen bases, so they will run. It's an athletic club.
Now, Carnes did make 1 start last year as a member of the Rays against Houston. That was in mid-August inside Minute Maid Park, a game that ended up going 13 innings, but Carnes was fantastic. In fact, he put up numbers that there's no doubt he'd like to put up now in a Mariners uniform. A run over 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk, and less than 85 pitches.
Well, and one of the encouraging things right now as you look at it, the Astros are being aggressive with him. That may help him on his pitch count, especially if he keeps the ball on the ground like he has with the first 2 hitters. And like Taijuan last night had his best fastball of the year. Consistent at 97 miles an hour, even at the end of the game after he'd thrown all those pitches. And so far, Carnes, we've already seen 94.
Looks ahead of Correa 1-2. Carnes, 28 years old, out of Arlington, Texas, makes his home in Houston. Seager charging. Carnes spreads it around the infield. 3 up, 3 down, all on the ground on just 8 pitches. Nice start for Nathan Carnes. Norioki will lead off as usual. Be followed by Ketel Marte. Robinson Cano, 2 RBI shy of 1,000. That's who's coming up when we come back. A 28-year-old lefty out of Tulsa named Dallas, the reigning Cy Young Award winner Dallas Keuchel getting the start here tonight for the Houston Astros. And Mike, how about the lineup that he'll face tonight for the Mariners?
Four managers got service. They have a couple of hitters in the lineup tonight that have had success against Keuchel. And the first one that you're going to notice is the cleanup hitter, Nelson Cruz, 500 batting average, 7 for 14 with 2 home runs. Kyle Seager's been hot, a couple of home runs in back-to-back games for him. Chris Iannetta, 313 average with a home run against Keuchel. And then Seth Smith, the DH, hitting ninth, 333 average with a couple of home runs.
And so some good numbers for some of these Mariners hitters against Keuchel. Keichel's first pitch coming home to Oki.
And for Keuchel on the year, 2-2 record, a 3.71 ERA, 22 strikeouts to 11 walks. Opponents hitting .267. He's given up 1 home run.
Late hop, good pick by Correa for out number 1. Boy, smooth at shortstop. Out number 1.
Take a look at the rest of the defense for the Astros. Brought to you by American Family Insurance. George Springer in right field covers a lot of ground and a strong throwing arm. You have to be aware of that. Tyler White, 3 errors for the rookie at first base. Jason Castro did not play in last night's ball game. The everyday catcher back in the lineup today. As we take a look at the last play by Correa. Smothers this one hopper. Ball hit hard by Aoki.
Marte, a 5-game hitting streak. And as usual, batting further up in the order against a lefty. And he's ahead 2-0.
If you look at Keuchel, his average fastball 88 miles an hour, not overpowering. As Aaron mentioned, he wants to keep the ball on the ground. Off speed pitches, he'll use a curveball and a changeup. You'll see an occasional cutter from him.
Now, since the start of 2013, Dallas Keuchel owns the best ground ball rate in baseball. Just over 60%. Part of the reason why he's won a couple of Gold Gloves. Has to field his position well.
And if you look at his overall numbers on the different pitches that he throws, the league hasn't hit much against his changeup and his curveball. Changeup just 143, his curveball a 138 batting average. But a little bit surprised, Aaron, to see that they're hitting 347 off of his fastball.
You think about that sinker from Keuchel.
Yeah.
So tough.
So I'm wondering if maybe he's getting his fastball up a little bit here early in the season. Maybe the Mariners can take advantage of that. Typically when you run into a pitcher that likes to keep the ball on the ground, that's what you just change your eye level And that was a pretty good fastball to hit right there.
Well, his last start very uncharacteristic. 6 earned runs over 6 innings against the Rangers. And Texas knocked him around for 13 hits. That tied a career high that he'd allowed. Out number 2, Marte, strikeout victim number 1. Interesting thing about Keuchel, he has been so incredibly dominant inside Minute Maid Park. He has struggled somewhat on the road, at least relative to what he's done at home. You can see last year, and these numbers reflect since the start of last season, undefeated at home, an ERA well beneath 1.5. Mike, on the road though, more of an average pitcher, at least based on these numbers.
And I would say that is surprising, because what we know at Minute Maid Park, especially when the roof is closed, it looks like a pretty good place to hit. But obviously he's comfortable with the mound there when you look at those numbers. Marte ended up striking out on the changeup at 80 miles an hour. You look at the Mariners offensively, they're actually tied with the Astros for 6th in the American League in runs scored, 3rd in home runs.
And no doubt the difference in the record is because of the pitching. Houston has struggled so mightily with mostly their rotation. The opposite way chases Rasmus, who curls over for round number 3. 3 up, 3 down for both starting pitchers. An inning in the book. We're off to the second. Mariners and Astros scoreless. Three-game series with the Astros as we start the second. We'll take a look at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings of the Mariners in first place right now in the American League West. And look at this deep into the season. This is the first time that they have been in first place this deep. 19 games since May of 2009, making Scott Service a happy man, but he's very realistic about it.
I think as you look at it, and something that we talked about at the start of the season, Aaron, is how difficult the schedule is going to be at the month of April, first 33 games or so. And so for me, watching them right now where they're at, they haven't hurt themselves at all, which is what you were hoping for.
One of the things that's so strange about this schedule to begin the season is Rasmus will lead things off for the Astros. Carnes a very quick and tidy 8-pitch all ground ball outs, top of the first. For the Mariners, this is their 14th game against an opponent from within the division. For the Astros, this is their 5th. The Mariners have a ton of games in the first month and a half within the division. Rasmus, who's got 7 home runs on the season, showing bunt.
When you figure out how they make up the schedules every year, Aaron, you let me know.
I'll pass it along.
I don't know what that formula is yet. Mariners have the shift on with Rasmus hitting.
Hence the bunt he showed in that last pitch. A lot of room on the left side. 2-1. Now Rasmus, who has gotten off to just an incredible start, one of the top on basemen so far this year in the American League, not to mention his power, 7 homers, 18 RBIs. The Mariners kept him off the bases last night. He went 0 for 4. A couple of strikeouts. Not an easy thing to do these days. Here comes the 2-2 and a full count. It's important to remember, as you see Preston Tucker on deck, when you're thinking about Nathan Karns, 28 years old, he has the age of a veteran. This is only his 35th career major league start. Hammered high. This is destroyed. Is it fair or foul? It is a foul ball.
This is going to be on the curveball, 80 miles an hour. And you can see it's up in the zone, middle of the plate.
You kind of get this sense talking with Nathan Karns and also to Chris Iannetta, his catcher, that they're still kind of in the process of learning the best approach for Nathan on a game-by-game basis.
One of the things that can help it is commanding your fastball. And I think there's been innings, we've talked about it in all of his starts, where his fastball command hasn't been there and they've had to adjust to it.
This teed off right field, but Cruz comes in. A lot of time to get underneath. Round number 1. Well, King Felix has been crowned the Mariners' all-time strikeout leader. We're celebrating with a very special edition of King's Court this Friday at 7:10 when Felix takes on the Kansas City Royals. For just $35, a ticket includes a commemorative King's Court t-shirt and K-card. As always, just visit mariners.com/Felix for tickets.
So far for Nathan, 16 pitches, 11 strikes, and he's topped out at 95. He's hit 95 a couple of times.
Preston Tucker takes strike 1. Talking about fastball command, Mike, going back to a previous point of yours, that seems like that was by far the best recipe for success last night for Taiwan.
That, and he was throwing 97 miles an hour.
When you're spotting it up and throwing mid-90s.
Yeah, that helps.
0-2.
But that's something that Taiwan did all year last year too. He doesn't walk batters. He typically will go after them, and I was curious to see what his approach was going to be last night, and talked about his outing against Cleveland, and he threw his fastball to the lineup the first time through.
They gobbles it up.
And then he started to mix in his curveball and his changeup. He did throw a slider a little bit more last night, and I thought it was a better slider for him. He's been working on that pitch. So once he really gets that one, he's going to be tough, especially on right-handers. But I think because last night Chris Iannetta, the veteran, realized he had an exceptional fastball, they were just going to stay with it.
Think about Taiwan so far this year. He has walked as many hitters as he has induced ground ball double plays, which is 3. Now, he has faced 99 batters in his first 4 starts, and he's walked 3 of them. 2 up, 2 down, now facing Tyler White, the first baseman for the Astros.
And Aaron, that would be a good number for somebody that you would think is those 88 control type of pitcher. For a guy throwing 97, and he's only walked 3.
Yeah, you're right, because when you think about upper tier velocity pitchers, you think about them being more wild.
Right.
Not the case with Taiwan. Good curveball to make it 1-1.
We talked about Nathan working ahead of the Astro hitters. He's faced 6 of them so far, 5 first pitch strikes.
Tight to the line. Seager holds it. Long distance throw. 6 up, 6 down. And 5 of those coming on the ground. We're through an inning and a half. Mariners and the Astros scoreless.
Everyone, Angie Mentank here at the Ford Sports Desk. Welcome back to Safeco Field. So far, a difficult day at the office for hitters on both sides. A little bit more on today's starter for the Houston Astros, Dallas Keuchel. 20-game winner in 2015. His ERA just 2.48, 216 strikeouts, 232 innings. So the numbers, no shock. He led the AL in WHIP, pitcher WAR, and adjusted ERA. And of course, he took home the Cy Young, which he was just awarded actually on Saturday, guys.
Yeah, Angie, Keuchel, one of the best. We have seen him, Mike, emerge to be one of the game's elites in the last couple of years. Facing Cruz to begin the bottom of the second.
It is interesting when you're looking at all those numbers that he put up last year, strikeouts and the wins and everything that he was able to do. And again, he's not a hard thrower. His average fastball 88 miles an hour. That was a pretty good cutter on the inside corner.
As it has been said about Keuchel, he is the most comfortable 0 for 4 in baseball.
Heard a lot of hitters, they used to say that about Jamie Moyer. Same thing.
Now this is what Keuchel does best. Soft ground ball to Correa. That'll bring in Goody. It's interesting when you think about Keuchel. If you go back even just to 2011, he split that season of the minors between AA and AAA. Like, he had an ERA just a little bit south of 4.5. And little would you know that 4 years later he's starting the All-Star game for the American League.
4.5. Take that as your 5th starter,
yeah.
Right?
That doesn't exactly.
Starting the All-Star game and wins the Cy Young Award. It's pretty good.
Pours in a first pitch strike to Gutierrez.
And you were talking about it being a comfortable over, Aaron, and that's the hard part for the hitters, because you see the ball flying off of him, you know he's not overpowering, and you feel that you can do a little something extra with him, and that's probably the worst thing. You really have to stay in the middle of the field, maybe even think the other way. He will use his cutter to the right-handers from time to time, but I wouldn't be as concerned about that as I would be his two-seamer and his changeup.
Count even on Gutierrez, who has had such success in recent years and his whole career against lefties. Now, Keuchel said it as much last season when he said that he thrives on the frustration that he can create to a hitter. You think about a lefty, exactly the opposite in Chris Sale. Opposing hitters are happy just to put the ball in play against Sale. They feel like that's a victory even if you ground out. It's such a chance to strike everybody out every night. But for Keuchel, you go up there knowing you're going to get 85 to 88, but there's this continued frustration when, if you go back to the ball put in play by Cruz, if you do that 3 or 4 times in one night.
Well, you put the ball in play and you feel you have a chance. The Astros probably felt that way last night against Taiwan. Let's just try to find a way to put it in play to see if you can find a hole somewhere.
The 2-2 to Gutierrez makes it a full count. Seager on deck. Big game 1 for Kyle last night. Down on strikes. Second punch out tonight for Keuchel. He set down the first 5. Well, Kyle Seager, as you know by now, career home run number 100 last night. You take a look at home runs in a Mariners uniform while playing third base. So you can see the asterisk at the bottom. Kyle's got a few home runs as a shortstop, as a second baseman. But Mike, judging by this list, trying to track down Beltre and Presley, I would say sometime midsummer at the latest we'll be seeing Kyle at the top of that list.
I would agree with that. He will be right at the top of it. With the way that Kyle has improved every year, and consider how long he's probably going to be the third baseman for the Mariners. Who's ever going to follow him, it's going to take him a while to get at the top of the list where he's going to be.
Seager has homered now in back-to-back games. Last year he homered in 3 straight games. That's the only time in his career that he's done that. So a chance to match a career best home run streak tonight as he gets ahead of the count.
It's interesting with hitters at this level, little adjustments that they make, and once something works, to watch them take off. And hopefully what Kyle is doing now is something that is going to work out for him as he hits this fly ball to left. A couple of minor adjustments, and he's homered in back-to-back games.
Boy, both these starting pitchers off to a nice start. 6 up, 6 down on both sides. We're off to the third. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. By BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. And by CHI Franciscan Health, the Mariners' official partners in health. Learn to stay Northwest healthy at nwhealthy.org. Beautiful look at Elliott Bay as we enter the top of the third inning here tonight. Middle game of the series with the Astros. So far dominated by the starting pitchers as Carnes squares off against Gomez. Jumps on the first pitch but yanks it foul. Carnes has some pretty tough matchups coming up. You see tonight facing Keuchel, the ace for the Astros. If rotations stay in order in the upcoming weeks, both for the Mariners and for their opponents, Carnes will square off as this pitch is barreled up to left center. Long range for Aoki out of the track. Round number 1. Monday in Oakland, he'll face off against Sonny Gray, the ace for the Athletics, and then on Saturday, if everything stays in order, he will face off against Keuchel again in Houston on the upcoming road trip. So Keuchel, Gray, Keuchel, not too easy.
Maybe that's a good thing for him, because right now this is as good as we've seen him. 24 pitches, 18 strikes, 7 batters faced, 6 first pitch strikes, and he probably was aware of who he was facing on its way into the ballpark today. So I think there's something to that.
It stands to reason.
Sometimes you come to the ballpark and you understand you're not going to be able to give too much up where it's going to cost you. Get that little bit of an extra edge.
Now facing Valbuena, the number 8 hitting third baseman for the Astros. 14 years ago, Valbuena was signed as a very young man out of Venezuela by the Mariners. In fact, he was traded away in a multi-team trade that involved, gosh, about a dozen players. The Indians were in part of that trade, and that's how the Mariners got Franklin Gutierrez. 1 out, nobody on. Cano doesn't have to go far. Short toss for round number 2. Everything working so far tonight for Carnes. Well, good news. The beard is back. Fans have the chance to get their hands on this year's faux facial hair with Beard Hat Night this Friday at 7:10 against the Royals. The first 20,000 fans are walking away with this great giveaway, so make sure to get your tickets now at Mariners.com.
I think we just saw a good example of what Scott Service was talking about in spring training when they were putting on all their shifts in spring training. He said it wasn't just to put the shifts on and try to get everybody out in the spring, but it was also to let the guys get used to the spacing. And on that ground ball, it would have been an easy play for Lee to go over, backhand it, and then throw it to the pitcher on the run. But Lee immediately looked to his right, saw that Cano was there, and went to first base. A much easier play, a play that you're going to make more often. It was because he was aware of where Cano was playing. I think sometimes in these shifts, because they're all different, they'll put them in different areas. Just because they're shifting, it doesn't mean they're going to be in the same place. You can see it right here. And Cano now out on the grass. So you have to be aware.
Especially for a guy who doesn't play every day as Lee. Cards ahead 1-2 facing Castro.
He has a really good fastball tonight. You can see it 95. He's hit 95 a number of times.
Two outs and nobody out for the Astros as Carnes deals on 1-2.
.96 on that fastball.
Full count. We know that curveball for him is so good, but it seems like his changeup has been really the great swing and miss pitch, especially if you got a left-handed hitter in here. Is that fair to say?
I think it is. And he's thrown it a few times already tonight. It's a little bit firmer than what we're used to seeing. Tonight his changeup, I've seen it at 87 miles an hour, 85 to 87.
Walks the number 9 hitter, first man to reach.
And that was on the changeup.
A 2-out base runner. I'll take a look at our CenturyLink. What's next? As Hisashi Iwakuma coming off a fine start. His last time out in Anaheim, taking on Colin McHugh, off to a very rough start. As you can see, that earned run average. Opponents hitting just south of 400 against him so far this year. It was Kuma who started this trend that we're seeing right now of Mariners starting pitchers going at least 7 innings. He went 8, gave up just 2 runs in his last start. Back to the top here is Altuve. Netta going after it. This will be strike 1. You can see Mike's last 4 starts. Fantastic work by the rotation.
The bullpen happy about that. You can see all the guys working deeper into the ball game, so the bullpen's been able to get a little bit of a rest, and I think that is going to be more the norm of what you're going to see over the course of the summer. Again, it's their 4th start, so all the guys in the rotation starting to settle in. Hopefully that'll be the case for Carnes tonight.
Two outs and Castro at first base after the walk. Talking with Felix today inside the clubhouse and asking him what's the best way to approach Altuve, and he smiled and said throw it right down the middle. That's the last place he's expected it. And then he got a little more serious and basically said you got to go low and outside, you got to hit your spot because he's got good pull power. Carnes falls behind.
I used to hear the same thing about Tony Gwynn.
That's the first guy that came to mind.
Yeah.
We've heard the story from former Mariner reliever Joe Beimel about when he was a starting pitcher with the Pirates and their pitchers meeting before facing the Padres. When Gwynn's name came up, they said, well, guys, he hits on the outside, he hits it inside, he hits low in the zone, he hits up in the zone. Let's just try going right down the middle. So Beimel tried that and Gwynn homered off it. Not many holes in that swing, and the same story goes for Altuve. Bends him back 3-1. Springer on deck, a ground out victim back in the first. Carnes sat down the first 8 he faced here tonight before that a walk to Castro. He's at first. And back-to-back walks. Two on, two out for Springer. As always, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Seeing anything, Mike, in those last 2 plate appearances by Astros hitters?
Well, not so much with the one to Castro. He walked him on a 3-2 pitch. A little bit surprising that he would throw him a 3-2 changeup. Just because Castro has really struggled this year, hitting just 116. He's 9th in the lineup. He hasn't hit a home run.
For his last 17.
I thought he would go right after him with a good fastball because he has a plus fastball tonight. And then maybe just a little too careful with Altuve.
Now facing Springer. Now Carnes just carved up the Astros over the first 8 hitters, and now back-to-back walks. Here's 1-0. Makes it 2-0. Now Scott Servais has seen Carnes not work deep in a game so far this year, coming off his deepest start of the season, 5 1/3 innings in Cleveland. But we saw probably, Mike, his 2 best innings of the season so far.
Well, now you see the 2 walks, and now he's in a hitter's count, and that's something you want to stay away from when you're against the Astros.
Right to Marte, easy flip, and Carnes gets out of it despite a couple of 2-out walks. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. We will see Mariners catcher Chris Iannetta. Day-Ho Lee get to the start tonight, and then Seth Smith.
Welcome back. Mel Stottlemyre and Nathan Carnes making sure they're singing from the same hymn book. Still scoreless here at Safeco Field. Remember to send in your photos using the hashtag #WhereIRoot on social media, like Justin here celebrating this little girl's 10th birthday while watching the Mariners. Pretty good job right there from Montana. And then we have got Rachel from the couch in Northgate, and I love the blanket. Well played, well played. Aaron, back to you.
All right, thank you, Ange. Bottom 3rd of the order due up for the Mariners. It starts off with Chris Iannetta. Tied to the line and a foul ball taken there by Valbuena. Seems like for a lot of sinker ball pitchers, when you start to see those big bounding ground balls, that's especially when you know that that sinker's working.
No, you're right, because as a hitter, when you're going to attack it, you see it in an area, and by the time, because of it sinking, it gets right in the hitting area, you're actually hitting right on top of the ball and driving it down into the ground, which is exactly what Keuchel wants you to do. And typically when you're throwing a sinker or the changeup, which is changeup will move down even more, you really have to try to zone him up. Get something up in the strike zone if you can.
1-2.
Of course, that's easier said than done, and that's the reason why he won the Cy Young Award last year. He doesn't make many mistakes up in the zone.
Hardly ever. Line drive, smoke to left. Rasmus can't get to it. Off the wall. Rasmus plays the carom as Iannetta comes charging into second. He slides. He's safe. First hit tonight for the Mariners.
And we'll take a look at it. There's the breaking ball on Supermo. Probably mid-thigh. Good pitch to hit, and he drives. He didn't miss it.
Now we're just talking about how tough it can be to square up one of his pitches. That one was really barreled up. Leadoff double. It brings in Dae-Ho Lee. RBI chance here in the bottom of the third. And a first pitch strike. Behind 0-2. Half of Dae-Ho Lee's hits so far this year have been homers. The most memorable of which, a walk-off homer off of Diekman in the 10th inning on the last homestand, the final game of the homestand. Walk-off winner. Altuve off to his left. White able to get to the bag in plenty of time. He advances Iannetta into third base with a 1 out. When you take a look at that curveball usage, Mike.
Yeah, he uses it a lot when he's ahead in the count. Iannetta, the catcher, probably aware of that, so he was really looking for the curveball. And then when you get it in a location, which is middle, mid-thigh, just don't want to miss it. And Iannetta did a nice job of driving it out to left field. So be aware of what he wants to do, and when he's ahead of you, he will throw his curveball.
Well, not normally would we see Seth Smith in the starting lineup facing a lefty in Keuchel, but 4 for 12 lifetime against Keuchel. Half of those home runs, half of those hits rather, home runs. 2 of the 4. And like Seager was last night, Seth Smith enters this evening sitting on 99 career homers. You can see the numbers there against Keuchel. Deep enough fly ball gets the Mariners on the board.
And the Astros have their infield in.
Seager last night with career home run number 100. Got that ball back, we heard. He and Steve Cishek. Cishek picked up save number 100 last night. He got, of course, that ball. Much easier than the home run ball. You can see Steve. Steve said that they both share the same agent, so he texted a picture of those 2 baseballs to his agent in New York. And that text got to him about 2 o'clock in the morning. Correa stares down Iannetta. Out number 2. Back-to-back ground ball outs after that leadoff double by Iannetta, and it's back to the top of the order with Aoki. Aoki grounded out to short back in the first inning on a nice pick by Correa. Goes around for strike one. Leonys Martin getting the night off this evening, so Aoki getting the start in center field. This makes his 15th career start in center. Has been the vast majority of his career in the corners. See Martin, a home run last night, his 4th.
Hitting with runners in scoring position. The Mariners have been struggling with that, but they've been better over their last 3-4 games. So far in tonight's game, 0 for 2.
With 2 outs, Iannetta 90 feet from home. And Aoki ahead of the count, 2-1. A.J. Hinch now in his 2nd season as the Astros manager. And it evens up 2-2. I've seen Aoki get on base more recently with ball 4. He walked just 1 time in his first 15 games. He's drawn 5 walks his last 4 times out. But Aoki's never been a real big guy to take ball 4. He's found a way to get on base in other means. And he commits strikeout. 3 strikeouts through 3 innings for Dallas Keuchel, and he's able to strand Iannetta at third base. We're up to the 4th, scoreless. Geico this state in Major League history. A Hall of Fame caliber catch. Ken Griffey Jr. taking it away from Jesse Barfield. And Mike, tell us your vantage point and the uniform you were wearing.
Well, it was my rookie year in 1990, and I was actually in uniform for the Yankees. Played third base that night. It was my first opportunity to get a chance to see Ken Griffey Jr. live and in action, and it was special. I think that would have been the 3rd home run for Jesse Barfield in the game.
Really?
And to watch Junior run across the outfield the way the amount of ground and then plant his foot in the wall perfectly. So it was special to see that.
Spectacular catch.
Yeah, and Randy pitching in that game. See the big unit on the mound.
So a couple of Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa, 21 years old, out of Puerto Rico. #1 overall pick back in 2012. He leads off the Astros 4th. 1 strike to Correa. 10-game on-base streak for the Astros shortstop. A 7-game hitting streak. In fact, the only run that Carnes gave up last year when he faced the Astros as a member of the Rays came off of Correa's bat. A home run as Cruz is able to track this down for round number 1. Now, Carnes has been able to retire the leadoff man now in each of the first 4 innings. And he now faces Colby Rasmus. One thing that Carnes said to us yesterday, Mike, inside the Mariners clubhouse, when he kind of reflected back on his first 3 starts, he said that his misses were not competitive or quality misses. What did he mean by that?
Well, I think what he means by that is if you're going to pitch off the edges of the plate, if they're borderline pitches, you'll get major league hitters to try to protect and they'll swing at those pitches. But sometimes with his curveball or even his fastball, if you miss badly with those pitches, they do nothing for you. You're not going to get him to chase it. It doesn't help you set up your next pitch. There's a lot to it. And so for Nathan, it's great that he's able to recognize that and hopefully make some adjustments.
In this stage of video and a surplus of video both for hitters and for pitchers, Carnes said that he's not a real big video guy if he's going good. If he's pitching well, the only video that he'll watch is of opposing hitters. But if some things he's trying to iron out, like he has to start this season, he's gone back and he's watched some film of himself and of the hitters that he'll face. That's one of the things that he's noticed.
The 2 things to your point too about competitive misses. For example, his curveball, when he gets 2 strikes, he likes to bounce it. Well, what he wants to do is he wants to throw it in the middle of the plate and have it basically bounce off the top of the plate.
Firm base hit into right field. Rasmus will hold with a single. Well, distraction occurs anytime you take your eyes off the road. If you're texting, you're not driving. Let's reach our target zero goal together. 0 traffic deaths in your family, 0 traffic deaths in our state.
And on the curveball, he's trying to bounce it off the plate. That'll get some swings and misses. But if he throws it too far out in front of home plate, or if he pulls across it, so it would be, you know, in the left-hand hitter's batter's box, you're not going to get that swing and miss. They're not going to offer at it.
First hit of the night for the Astros. Here comes Preston Tucker. Carnes sat down the first 8 Astros hitters that he faced before a couple of 2-out walks. Keeping an eye on Rasmus.
And sometimes you'll see him want to elevate his fastball because he has a good fastball. 2 strikes, try to get him to chase it. Iwakuma, one of the best at throwing the fastball up just out of the strike zone to get the hitter, and they're not going to catch up to it. If it's too high out of the zone, it doesn't serve a purpose at all. And sometimes Nathan will waste it just way too high.
And one thing that we're still in the process, Mike, I'm interested to hear what you think on this. Trying to kind of learn just exactly what kind of pitcher Nathan Carnes is. We know that he's got, and tonight you mentioned it, a fastball at 95. Last year he had a strikeout rate of nearly 1 hitter per inning. And he punched a lot of guys out. This year those numbers are up even more. More strikeouts than innings pitched entering tonight. He's got the changeup, has the very good curveball. And Taiwan, for example, Taiwan's a power pitcher, right? I mean, that's very clear. And do we have a good sense yet as to what Nathan Carnes is?
I don't think so. And I think, again, because of some of his issues commanding his fastball, which is a bit surprising, it's hard to figure that out. It appears to me tonight that Iannetta is calling for his changeup more, especially to the left-handers. And I think he wants him to get a better feel for that pitch.
This time a curve, and it's 3-0. Tyler White on deck in the midst of an 0-for-17 slump. Rasmus at first, a 1-out single. And the 3rd walk tonight for Carnes. 2 on with 1 out. As we take a look at our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms feature. What a start to this season for Taijuan Walker, the top 5 in American League earned run average this season. But look at the bigger picture. Early start of the year, March and April, franchise history. Mike, this is one of the best ERAs we've seen.
And it's been dominant. Again, going back to last night. The thing that's interesting is you can see Felix down there at a 1.80. So you have 2 starters with ERAs under 2 here to start the season. That's pretty good.
And Taijuan with 4 earned runs in 4 starts. 4 earned runs total, that is. 1 out and 2 on for Tyler White. Grounded out to Seager to end the second. As the first pitch strike from Carnes here in the 4th. That was something that he did exceptionally well in the first 2 innings. First pitch strike to 5 of the first 6 men that he faced. He sat down the first 6 in order.
And the thing that you noticed is they'll be more aggressive in those situations, and he was getting some ground ball outs. But all of a sudden you start to lose it a little bit, especially even with a free swinging team like the Astros are. They'll wait you out, and that's what we've seen last inning with the 2 walks, now in this inning with a walk.
Altuve 0 for 1 with a walk back in the 3rd. Off the plate, not missing by much. Now it's interesting when you think about Carnes this season. We were just mentioning his strikeout numbers, more strikeouts than innings pitched entering tonight over his first 3 starts. Does not have a strikeout this evening against a team that strikes out more than anybody in baseball. In fact, the Astros have back-to-back games with double-digit strikeouts last night and then Sunday night against the Red Sox. Already this season, the Astros, they have double-digit strikeouts in a dozen games. 12 of their 20 games. Two and 2. I think this was the question for the Astros, Mike, and we've talked about it. Are the wins sustainable at that strikeout rate? And this year, the Astros 2 wins, 10 losses in games with double-digit strikeouts.
Yeah, I think if you look at their numbers, it'll be interesting to watch over the course of the summer. They're 1st in home runs. They are 3rd in walks, so they do strike out a lot, but they will take a base on ball.
Weak ground ball. Marte charging. Only play first base for round number 2. Rasmus into 3rd. Tucker, who walked, is in 2nd.
Looks like he gets him to chase a changeup off the outside corner, 85 miles an hour. Good play by Marte. The Astros have really struggled hitting with runners in scoring position, in large part to those strikeouts. They came into the game hitting just 182 runners in scoring position, 0 for 2 so far tonight.
Rasmus, the man at 3rd base. Tucker at 2nd. First time tonight the Astros have had a man at 3rd. Gomez flew out to the warning track in center. It was caught by Aoki back in the 3rd.
We talked about Nathan and his pitch count. Having a tough time getting deep in the games. In the first 2 innings, he threw a total of 22 pitches. Now here in an inning and 2/3, 36 pitches.
I think about a couple of starts ago for Felix. He had a 30-pitch inning and yet was somehow able to bounce back and work around that and work 6 or 7 innings. That's not easy for most pitchers to come back from an inning where you're throwing 25 or even 30 pitches in an inning, or if you spread that out over maybe an inning and the 2/3. Milwaukee angling back, has it in his sights for round number 3. And the Astros strand a couple in scoring position. We're off to the bottom of the 4th inning. We're going to see Mariners shortstop Ketel Marte, Robinson Cano, and the boomstick all coming up for the Mariners when we come back.
It is Twitter Tuesday. We're giving away prizes all night. It is time for our next question. So please use hashtag RootQ3 and tell us which playing position has accounted for the most home runs in Mariners franchise history. And you have to be more specific than if it is an outfield position. And I'm not saying it is, Aaron, but it's center field, right field, left field. Specific position that has the most home runs in Mariners franchise history.
No, he's done a nice job setting the ground rules. That's good to know. Boy, first thought you'd have to think center field, right? Marte screams his fair ball left field. Coming around first base as that caroms off the wall. Rasmus will let Marte stand up with a double. Mariners 2 hits tonight off of Keuchel, both for 2 bases.
And we'll take a look at it. He gets a changeup up, middle in. Good piece of hitting. He's starting to heat up. It's good to see. Trying to pick up his base hits.
All right, Mike, so you say middle in. Today, Robinson Cano, when asked, how do you approach a guy like Keuchel, especially left on left for Cano versus Keuchel, he said you got to stay middle. What does he mean by that? In
the middle of the field, you have to think more left center to right center. You can't try to pull him, and you don't want to try to force it into left because of the off-speed pitches. And basically because he's not overpowering, you really don't have to worry about his fastball too much getting on you. But you have to stay in the middle of the diamond, because if you try to pull it, like that breaking ball on him right there, if he tries to swing at that and pull it, even though it's a strike, it's down in the zone. It's probably going to be a ground ball. Have to let the ball travel a little bit further. That's how you're going to stay in the middle of the diamond. And when you look at a pitcher the caliber of Keuchel, these are the opportunities you can't let him pass by. We had a leadoff double last inning. Dae-Ho Lee was able to get him over to third. You're not able to score him. Now you have another leadoff double. You have to take advantage of these situations,
especially with the speed of Marte
and the middle of your lineup coming up now.
Cruz on deck, then Goody. A.J. Hinch, who's had such struggles with his rotation, leaning on Keuchel, there's no doubt. The 1-1 to Cano. Now ruled a strike.
Well, and you can see Robbie's not happy about it at all. This is just going to make his job extremely difficult. As you take a look at this last pitch, clearly off the plate away. Brian Gorman, the home plate umpire, ends up calling it a strike. So instead of 2-1 where you're feeling pretty good, now you're in a 1-2 count.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Cano.
He is working hard to try to keep everything down and away from him.
Keuchel has had nice success over the course of his career against the Mariners. This is his 9th start against the Mariners, an ERA just over 2.5 and a whip of exactly 1. The 2-2 and a full count. And you talk about trying to get runs off of Keuchel, especially capitalizing in a situation like this. Keuchel has given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 6 of his previous 8 starts, including a complete game here inside Safeco Field back in 2014. So the runs are not easy to come by. Marte leadoff double. Back-to-back innings the Mariners have had a leadoff double against Keuchel. And the 3-2. Altuve scampers to his left. Out number 1, but just like we saw back in the 3rd, it moves this time Marte into third base. That'll bring up Nelson Cruz. Well, the reigning World Series champions, the Kansas City Royals, make their way to the Emerald City to face the Mariners in a 3-game weekend series starting this Friday. Great seats for this showdown at Safeco Field, available right now at Mariners.com.
Brent Strom, the pitching coach, making a trip out to the mound. The only thing I can think of is he's explaining the numbers that Cruz has off of Keuchel. Be very careful. If you lose him, that's okay. Go after the next hitter, and hopefully you'll be able to get the double play ball. So we'll see how he pitches to Nelson. Nelson again coming into this game 7 for 14 off of Keuchel with 2 home runs. Astros will bring their infield in.
Go ahead run at third base. That's Marte. Strike 1. Huge spot here for the Mariners. Cruz 4 home runs, a dozen RBIs so far this season. At that ground out back in the 2nd, you can see the updated numbers against Keuchel. He entered tonight a 500 hitter and 14 at bats against Keuchel. As Carnes hoping for some run support here in the bottom of the 4th. Through the left side for a base hit, and the Mariners have taken a 1-0 lead. Leadoff double from Marte comes around to score.
Now we'll take a look at this curveball. Nelson Cruz, the infield drawn in. Not a good feeling for them, and this ball hit hard. Keuchel trying to get the ground ball. He was able to get the ground ball, but Nelson hit it too sharply. Gets through the infield.
And nice work by Marte. Cruz at first, and in steps Franklin Gutierrez.
You see the opponent's batting average against his curveball just 138, so we're not going to see too many people getting hits off of his curveball. Nelson Cruz getting a hit right there. But if you look at his overall numbers, he likes to throw his curveball when he's ahead in the count and when he gets into trouble. And Nelson Cruz, I'm sure, saw that on the scouting report and took advantage of it.
That double by Iannetta coming off the curve of Keuchel as well. Not easy to do. 1 out, 1 on, 1 ball, and 1 strike to Goody. And a win here tonight for the Mariners would mean 4 consecutive series wins. Remember, they won every series on that 3-city road trip. It began in the Bronx. 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. Same story for Scott Service's team in Cleveland and then in Anaheim as well. Keuchel taking a long look in. 2-2. Castro getting the start tonight behind home. Had last night off. And A.J. Hinch just trying to find something that works for the Astros this year. Last place in the West. A surprise to basically everybody based on the success the Astros had last year. They went to the wild card game. Beat the Yankees in New York. Gutierrez down on strikes. Fourth strikeout for Keuchel. Out number 2. We hope you can stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. We'll hear from the skipper, Scott Service. Nelson Cruz driving in. The lone run in this game so far. 2 outs. Cruz at first base for Kyle Seager. Little squibber foul.
Keuchel took a lot off of that curveball, just 76 miles an hour. You can see Kyle looking at the end of his bat. It's a cupped bat.
Now last year, half of Seager's 26 home runs came against lefties. He was an exceptional hitter last season against southpaws. Weak wave and an 0-2 count.
Doesn't happen very often, especially to Kyle Seager, but every now and then you get caught guessing. He was looking for a fastball after that curveball, and Keuchel came right back with the breaking ball again, and that's why you saw the weak swing.
You can see his career numbers, the splits, lefties and righties. Seager's never been the type of guy that has been with such extreme splits where you'd even think about the need for a platoon. That's never been an issue. But Mike, even with that being the case, the jump that he made last year against left-handed pitching, that doesn't seem like it's an easy adjustment to make in one offseason.
It's not, but the thing that we've all learned about Kyle is he will break his game down, and an area of weakness he will focus on that in the winter to try to improve, and that's something that he did. I talked to him about it, and he said he had to get better against left-handers, and it certainly worked for him. Eventually he's going to put all those things together.
2-2. There goes Cruz. Castro fires his second tag, and they got him. Good throw by Castro. Carnes will be pitching with a lead as we take another look at how this bottom of the fourth comes to a close. go to the top of the 5th inning. Look out from Beacon Hill as the Mariners and the Astros tangling here tonight. The middle game of this 3-game series. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports, brought to you by Honda Dream Garage Sales Event now at your Honda dealer, and by Steel. To find your local Steel dealer, visit steeldealer.com. Out of the top of the 5th. First pitch to Valbuena, a strike as Carnes is pitching with the lead. Nothing in 2. Carnes puts him away on 3 pitches. Nice curveball to get things going here at the top of the 5th.
77 miles an hour. Valbuena swing right over the top of it. I'm sure that right now Scott Service, Mel Stottlemyre hope that Carnes will really settle in again. Aaron, you talked about his first 2 innings, how dominant he was in the first 2 innings. Every pitcher is going to have an inning or 2 along the way where they're going to struggle, which he has had. But he was able to get out of it, and now you'd like to see him fall right back into where he was at in the 1st and 2nd inning, where he's been dominant. And that's a good fastball again at 94.
Nothing but strikes so far. Castro, an all-star back in 2013. Free agent after this season. 0-2. The 0-2.
And another changeup. He's been working on his changeup tonight, throwing a little bit more than we're used to seeing.
First pitch that has missed here in the top of the 5th. Count stays put at 1-2.
I like the location of it though, Aaron. 0-2. Throw the changeup. Make sure you get it down out of the strike zone. If they swing at it, probably going to swing over the top of it, or very least hit a ground ball at somebody. If you miss, you can come right back at it, and he shows a good fastball again at 94.
Castro off to a very rough start of the season. Just 5 hits in his first 43 at-bats of the year. Former first-round draft pick out of Stanford. Rings him up, strike 3 call.
On the curveball again.
I got Valbuena on the curve to start things, and now Castro.
80 miles an hour. Get towards the bottom of the strike zone. Good look at the knuckle curve.
We saw Eric Surkamp, the starter for the A's, as Altuve sees ball 1. Back on the last homestand, Surkamp, a former college teammate of Nathan Carnes at North Carolina State, and it was Surkamp who taught Carnes that knuckle grip on the curve. He's tweaked it a little bit over the years, but that was the foundation of it. Boy, another good curve. Rolled a strike at 79. 1 ball and a 1 strike to Altuve.
That was a good one.
When you can have Altuve backing away and looking at a strike, you know that's a good pitch. Since 2014, Altuve leads all major league hitters in hits, and it's not close. Altuve is swinging a miss. Uses the changeup this time. Strikes out the side in order. Nathan Carnes. Nice work through 5 innings. Mike, we'll take a look at our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Nathan Carnes, no strikeouts through 4, punches out the side in order in the 5th.
And he really had his curveball, the knuckle curve, working for him. Picks up a couple of strikeouts on the knuckle curve. It was also good to see him get a strikeout on his changeup. Again, he's throwing his changeup more tonight than we've seen him.
What do you think about Carnes? He's a 3-pitch guy, the fastball, the changeup, and the curve. As Seager leads off the home half. For some pitchers, for a righty, for example, like Carnes, if you've got the changeup in your arsenal, that might be a pitch that you only exclusively use to a left-handed hitter or thereabouts. But for a guy like Carnes to survive with only 3 pitches, he really almost has to be able to throw that pitch to a right-handed hitter, doesn't he?
Oh, I would agree. It's different for somebody coming out of the bullpen that's trying to get through an inning. Then maybe 2 pitches is just fine. But when you're trying to work through a lineup 3, maybe 4 times, you have to be able to show them something else. Because sometimes if it's just going to be 2 pitches to him, Aaron, they'll eliminate one of them. And I think that Chris Iannetta, veteran catcher, doing a good job of mixing in that changeup tonight.
One-two to Seager. Correa, who was over in the shift just a moment ago, just moved over to the third base side of second. We'll take a look at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Sleep Train. Series wraps up tomorrow, then an off day on Thursday. The Kansas City Royals in second place in the Central come to town at 12-7. Looks like we'll see 3 right-handers in the rotation. We'll see Medlin, Ventura, and Kennedy. 3 righties for Kansas City, and then it's off to the road.
You were talking about the shift and moving over. It was when Kyle ended up with 2 strikes. And it's really amazing in today's game, Aaron, in that if you watch Kyle and his at-bats over the last 3 or 4 games, he's been swinging much better, but he's been hitting the ball on that side a number of times. And so they get the information so quickly, they made an adjustment there to where they're, with the 2 strikes, they're going to go ahead and move the shortstop back over, and Kyle ends up hitting it right to him.
Worked out for the Astros. Iannetta ahead of the count, 3-0. He doubled in his only other at bat tonight, back in the 3rd. Four-pitch walk with 1 out, and the first walk tonight from Keuchel. Our Century Link, what's next? Masashi Iwakuma taking the ball tomorrow against Colin McHugh. McHugh, who had such a fantastic run his first season and a half or so with the Astros, scuffling right now. Iwakuma trying to pick up the momentum from his last start. 2 runs over 8 innings in Anaheim, filling in for Felix when the King was ill. DeHoly is swinging a slice. If you go inside of A.J. Hinch's office inside Minute Maid Park, Mike, he's got a computer monitor that's so big you could land a plane at SeaTac with that thing. And I asked him last year, this is where all the shift data is, right, A.J.? Correa, the backhand, throws off the heels, well off the bat. Lee is safe. Iannetta into second, an infield single with 1 out.
Well, Correa shading towards the middle of the diamond. Shows his range, but the throw offline. Tyler White, the first baseman, has to leave the bag.
Long throw to make. 2 out with 1 out for Seth Smith.
Mariners tonight 1 for 5 runners in scoring position. Now 1 hit to Nelson Cruz. That was in the 4th inning when he drove in Marte.
Smith with 2 on. Lee at first base. Iannetta the man at second. A walk and an infield single. I don't know how many times we're going to write down infield single next to HOU Lee, but we do it here tonight. Mariners trying to extend this 1-0 lead. It was Cruz with the infield drawn in. Ground ball base hit into left back in the fourth. Smith ahead 3-0. There's something about Seth Smith, Mike. Leads the team in walks with 9 despite not being necessarily an everyday guy, a platoon member. But he's got a way of finding himself on base, it seems like, very often. Very professional at bats. That term gets used so much it becomes jaded, but no doubt Edgar has helped along the way, but it seems like that's what Seth Smith has been like since he arrived.
No, you're right. I think that being in the big leagues with the Rockies and primarily a pinch hitter has helped him a lot with that. And when you're pinch hitting, you're always looking for a good pitch hit. Now he can be aggressive at times. There's no question about it, but rare for him to expand the zone and help a pitcher out.
Two out and one on. Pardon me, 1 out and 2 on. And Smith, another walk. Bases jammed with 1 down. 2 walks in this inning for Keuchel after not walking any over the first 4. Well, a reminder that Saturday night the Royals will be in town. That game has been moved from 6:10 to 7:10. The viaduct will be closed, so plan accordingly. Iannetta, a 1-out walk, stands at third base. HOU Lee, the infield single over to Correa at second. Smith, his team leading 10th walk. The man at first.
Aoki 0 for 2 in his last at bat. It was a strikeout looking. It was a lot of breaking balls just like that. Able to lay off of it this time. But he chased them all almost in the same spot. So he's trying to make an adjustment.
One ball and 1 strike. Now with 1 out and the bases loaded facing Keuchel as a hitter, you know he's trying to get something to get a double play.
Yeah, he wants to try to put it on the ground, and he's one of the best in the business at it.
On the ground, on the grass, White coming home. I'll get Iannetta for round number 2. Bases still loaded.
And it's on the breaking ball again. You see White, no chance to get the double play, so he's going to get the lead runner to the force out at home. Marte 1 for 2. He doubled down in the left field corner his last time up. He has scored the only run in this ball game.
Strike 1. A double for Cattell extended his hit streak to now 6 games. 8 for his last 22. First time at the plate this year with the bags packed. Now Castro keeps it in front of him, 1-1. HOU Lee, the infield single now at third. Smith walked. Takes a lead at second base. The fielder's choice for Aoki at first. Two outs, bases loaded behind Keuchel. Hard hit up the middle and a base hit. Lee scores. Active puts up the stop sign to Smith. And the Mariners are on top 2-0. Cattell Marte, a run scored in the 4th. And he drives one in here in the 5th.
his fastball is blistered into center field. Well located fastball too. Good job of staying with it. Hit right down to it. Didn't pull off of it at all. Lined it into center field. Gomez, the center fielder, an exceptional arm. Maniaca doing the right thing, holding up Seth Smith at third. Mariners now 2 for 7 runners in scoring position.
Some 2-out run production here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It brings in Cano.
That was such good hitting by Marte right there. That's exactly where Keuchel wanted to throw that fastball.
Chance for grand slam number 10 if you want to get greedy. Now Cano does not have good numbers lifetime against Keuchel. 3 for 21 now, including tonight. 0 for 2.
We were talking about him saying stay in the middle of the field. There's a hole on the left side of the infield. Correa, the shortstop, playing towards the middle. See the defensive alignment.
One outside.
And Castro may be struggling swinging the bat, but he's done a good job keeping everything in front of him tonight. Keuchel has bounced a number of breaking balls with runners in scoring position, and he's been able to block every one of them.
A run in the 4th, a run here in the 5th. Marte's been a part of both. The opposite way, Erasmus charged it in, has to play it on a hop. Smith scores right behind him. Here comes Aoki, slides in safe. And the Mariners lengthen the lead a little bit more. Cano on a rundown, coming home. Another run in. Here's Marte.
What a smart play by Marte. Can't do it any better. Cano was caught off from going around first because he was hoping that they would cut the ball off. It was a high throw. And then Marte just waiting over at third, trying to figure out when he was going to go. We'll see the base hit. Jams him a little bit, dumps it out in front of Rasmus, who has a strong throwing arm, but he makes a high throw to home. Aoki, you can see Maniaca waving him all the way. When it was high, that's when Robbie decided to go. And Castro. And you'll see Marte touch third, and now he's going to watch. And the key to it all is as soon as Taylor White turns his back to him to throw the ball to second, he takes off. An easy play with his speed.
The Mariners have hung 5 runs on the reigning Cy Young winner. Now, Mike, we saw it on the road trip. Marte, as you see, Cano now 1,000 RBIs. See where he ranks all time. The fastest to 1,000. Boy, got there awfully quick. We saw it on the road trip with Marte, Mike. Scored from first base inside Yankee Stadium on a routine ball into center field. We saw him take an extra base on an error by Escobar on Sunday in Anaheim, which resulted in a run coming home. Him scoring on a double play ball to the next batter. He can create so much when he gets on base.
Well, and on that play again, there really is nothing for Maniaca to do at that point. You certainly, if they're going to try to make a play, you may as well try to score on the play, because Cano is probably going to be out. But the thing that I liked about him is he wasn't bluffing. He didn't try to do anything. He waited for Tyler White, the rookie first baseman, a right-handed thrower, to turn his back. And as soon as he turned his back, that's when Marte took off. The timing of it was perfect.
That goes down as a single, of course, for Cano. He takes second base on the error by White. So Robinson needed 2 RBIs to get to 1,000. That's exactly how many he picks up on that one swing. Up and in.
There, right there, he takes off. And you can see Altuve, the second baseman, pointing. By then it's too late. Perfectly timed.
without citing or knowing the exact numbers, Mike, you think back to last season, your gut tells you that Mariners base running last year cost Mariners runs.
Yes.
I mean, there's really no question about that. We're getting the feeling this year that Mariners base running at times, as we saw here and as we saw on the road trip, is now creating runs, and that's a huge swing. It was a huge priority for this franchise.
Yeah, it's one of the things that Jerry DiPoto talked about all winter, becoming more athletic, being able to run, especially when you're playing in this ballpark, so that you can create some runs, which we just saw Marte do right there. And that's a big difference.
Still 2-2 to Cruz.
Saw Scott Servais, something he talked about in the spring, how important that was going to be.
Strike 3 call. Boy, that was inside.
Yeah.
Cruz rung out, maybe unfairly. It was. We're through 5. 5-0. Mariners have the lead. One on Link Light Rail, so right in from their newest stations on Capitol Hill, as you see right here, or at the UW. Schedules available at soundtransit.org. On to the top of the 6th inning. Robinson Cano now with 1,000 RBIs on his career, and Ketel Marte making things happen here tonight. Marte an RBI single in the 5th, also scored on some aggressive base running. He scored 2 of the Mariners' 5 runs. And Carnes now working with a 5-0 lead as we start at the top of the 6th. And you see here, Mike, 73 pitches for Carnes. That's a great sight to couple, especially with the scoreboard right now.
No, you're right about that. And we've been showing the graphic on the other 4 starters and what they've done in their last turn, and that is working deeper into the game. All of them going at least 7 innings. Iwakuma, of course, going 8. Miley was 7 1/3, and now Nathan has a chance to do the same thing, and he can be aggressive now. He has a 5-0 lead. Good curveball again. He's had a good curveball all night.
You've talked about Taijuan Walker having 2 different curveballs, and I know we've mentioned tonight Carnes throws a curve sometimes to bounce it in there. Is Carnes in that same category?
Yes,
because we've seen him throw it for a staring strike, so to speak.
Well, he has one that he will throw early in a count when he's trying to throw a strike, and you'll see probably, you'll notice more than anything, the velocity of it won't be quite as hard. He's just kind of, the bite's not quite there, just laying it in there, stealing a strike, if you will. When he has 2 strikes, 1-2, 2-2, that's when you'll see him try to bounce it on top of the plate, and his arm speed will definitely speed up on it.
Curveball there at 81. 2-2 to Springer. Marte Belt high, strong throw. Springer 0 for 3. It brings in Carlos Correa. College night is this Friday at 7:10. Arrive early and enjoy extended happy hour specials that include $6 beers and half-off pizza. Plus, you'll want to see the first pitch thrown out by Seattle's very own Macklemore. Pick up tickets, $12 tickets at mariners.com/college. So big night. Macklemore in the house. That'll be a special King's Court that night as well. College night, beard hat night, a lot going on here at the ballpark on Friday evening after an day off. Boy, not missing by much. Two balls and one strike to Correa. You look at this score right now, 5-0 Mariners, and you're reminded of the fact that the Astros entering tonight have the worst run differential in the American League. They are -21, which is something that A.J. Hinch probably did not think would be in the stat pack entering tonight this time of the year. Scores right there to Marte.
He is doing everything tonight.
How about that from Cattell? We go back to play to the Big Fish Casino. Big catch on the night.
And Aaron, you made the comment on the throw that he put a lot on this throw. And you take a look at him, and I had a chance to talk to Manny Acta today, and you could see on his feet, watch his feet, they don't cross over at all. Right when he catches it, it's almost like a little shuffle right here, plants, and gets right on top of it. His arm has been so much better this year than last year, and I was talking to Manny Acta about it. Manny said that looking at him at the start of spring training, his right foot, if you will, typically when he was going to throw, would drop behind his left foot, which would cause him to get too far turned in. And so when he would throw the ball, he'd throw almost a sinker over there and not get as much on it. So they've really worked hard on his feet, and that was a great example of him not crossing over, almost just gathering, feet almost touching together, and then the separation when he pushes off that right leg and then gets on top of it. And Manny, I had a good conversation today. He's worked a lot with Marte, and he has a lot of energy, by the way, which is fun. But that's one of the things they work on a lot with his footwork and making sure that he doesn't drop that back foot, his right foot behind his left ankle, because it gets him too far turned in, and that's the reason why he's able to stay on top and the ball stays true with him. And I was talking to him, I said, yeah, it's, you know, for young players, just to make them consistent can be difficult at times. And I thought Manny had a great answer. He goes, yeah, that's the reason why I really wanted to start getting a couple of hits tonight, because the young players a lot of times will take their offense out with their defense, and the position he plays is too important. And he said so far Marte's done a good job of that, so he's happy tonight. A couple of hits, and he's all over the place at shortstop, so he's going to be pleased with what he's seen so far.
The 2-2 to Rasmus. Now this has been Marte's night, there's no question. That was a great shot, that supermo shot of his footwork. Rasmus has the only Astros hit tonight. Frozen. Got him. Good looking changeup from Nathan Carnes. He sat down the last 8 in a row. Franklin Gutierrez coming up for the Mariners as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Kyle Seager, career home run number 100 last night. And then Mariners catcher Chris Iannetta when we come back.
the 6th. No guts, no air medal. These gentlemen made signs. Say yes to prom. All right, and Callie, who is the blonde with the Mariners hat on, she said yes to prom. And Maya, in the blue Mariners hat, also said yes to prom. And I mean, the roses would have been enough for me. The sign, that's just like a cherry on top, guys.
Now, who can say no to a good sign, right, Mike?
Absolutely.
It's a good move. 1-0 to Gutierrez, leading off the bottom of the 6th. The Mariners got Keuchel for 4 runs, 3 of those earned in the 5th inning. Now, if there's one thing we have learned this year, Mike, about the 2016 Mariners so far through 19 games, you get 4 runs, you're in pretty good shape.
You're in pretty good shape is right, and it's good to see them score some runs off of Dallas Keuchel.
Mariners are 7-0 this season when they score at least 4 runs.
Michael Feliz getting loose in the pen. Keuchel now at 97 pitches.
The opposite way, scorched. Springer is there, and he's able to make a very high catch. 1 up, 1 down. It brings in Seager. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 devices. Includes a free subscription to At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Visit Mariners.com for details. Think back to that very successful road trip the Mariners are coming off of, winning every series, winning 6 out of 9 games. Seager swings and misses at the first pitch. The Mariners got 4 runs in 4 of those 6 wins on the road trip. We've got 5 here through 5 1/3. Off-speed pitch, and it's 0-2. Clubbed into right field, but Springer has all day to get underneath it. Out number 2. Both out to Springer's glove here in the last of the 6th. And here comes Chris Iannetta. Well, they've made a scoring change on Dallas Keuchel. They have taken the throwing error away from Astros first baseman Tyler White, going back an inning to the 5th. And it has turned into a fielder's choice. So all 4 runs earned against Keuchel's line. And Mike, we said it in the early innings. 8 previous starts for Dallas Keuchel. 3 earned runs or fewer. This is against the Mariners in 6 of them. So you get 5 against Keuchel in a ballpark where he's already thrown 1 complete game. That was 2 years ago. This is a very good sign for the Mariners.
No, you're right, and I like their at-bats tonight. For the most part, they've been fairly patient, trying to get him up in the zone, and a few times they've been able to take advantage of it. The double by Marte, I can think of, the base hit by Cano that drove in a couple of runs. Marte ended up hitting a really good pitch into center field.
It will be interesting to see on this next road trip when Edgar Martinez takes a look at the starting pitchers for the Astros when the Mariners are there for a weekend series. As we mentioned earlier, if things stay in line for Houston, the Mariners will see Keuchel again on Saturday night from inside Minute Maid Park, a place where he has been undefeated since the start of last season. It'll be interesting to see what they have learned tonight that they can put towards their next meetup with Keuchel. Routine to Correa, and the side sat down in order. We've got 6 innings in the books here tonight from Safeco Field. The Mariners with a win tonight would mean a series win. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the Baconlicious Sourdough Bacon Ranch Combo only at Jack in the Box. We are off to the top of the 7th inning. And Mike, what a start this has been tonight for Nathan Karns. He's worked already a season high 6 frames. He's been fantastic.
He really has. He came out in the first 2 innings, faced the minimum 1, 2, 3 in the first and the second. Ran into a little bit of trouble, lost his command in the 3rd and the 4th. The thing that I like is in the 5th and 6th, he came right back. He had his trouble innings, was able to get through them without giving up a run, and now he's bared down again. And if you look at the last 2 innings, the 6 outs he's recorded, 4 of them by the strikeout. That's something that Mel Stottlemyre will be pleased with.
Karns climbs back on top of the mound, just shy of 90 pitches. Mel Stottlemyre Jr. has been awfully pleased with his rotation lately. First pitch on the way to Tucker. We saw Tucker last night as a 9th inning pinch hitter. Had a historic career at the University of Florida where he hit in the same lineup as Mike Zunino. They were Gators together. And Mike, it's been nice to see from afar following the Rainiers.
It has.
Some really good early season success for Mike Zunino.
No, you're right. I think the big part for Mike is obviously he had some adjustments to make, but more than anything, just regaining his confidence. And he obviously has done that with the numbers that he's putting up in Tacoma. Recently named PCL Player of the Week. Yeah, that's good news. Good sign for Mike.
They have the shift on for Tucker. Appealed onto third base. He does not go. That's Quinn Walcott over at third base tonight. We saw him last night behind home. Makes his home in Tacoma. Joined the major league staff back in 2014. Proud alum of Emerald Ridge High School. Another strikeout for Karns. He's got 5. Nice way to start the top of the 7th.
Still has the good fastball. This one at 93 miles an hour. Just above the top of the strike zone. And that is something he'll be happy about. Aaron, you mentioned it earlier, a competitive miss. That's what that was right there. Able to get him to chase it.
Now facing Tyler White, 0 for his last 18. Until now. Aoki will track it down. Only the 2nd hit tonight for the Astros. A 1-out base runner to bring in Carlos Gomez. Take a look once again at our CenturyLink. What's next? Hisashi Iwakuma making start number 5 on the season for the Mariners. Taking on Colin McHugh, and that, well, in recent years, fantastic curveball of McHugh's. We'll hit the airwaves at 6:30, 7:10 the first pitch time between Iwakuma and McHugh tomorrow night of the series finale. A 1-out base runner for Carlos Gomez. Late twisted foul. Gomez was an all-star in the National League back in 2013, 2014 as well with the Brewers. Won a Gold Glove with Milwaukee as well. Acquired at the deadline last season for the Astros. Gomez really known, among other things, as an energy guy. Seems like every team's got one, and Gomez is that guy for the Astros.
Who would be that guy for the Mariners?
I was just thinking as I said that. Whoops. Think quick.
I think Marte. I think he brings a lot of energy to this club, especially when he's swinging the bat well.
And I think you can take that to two different directions, as we see Tony Zick warming up. There's energy guys on the field, which I think you're absolutely right. Marte's got to be that guy. Then there's energy guys in the clubhouse. You think of a guy in recent years like Johnny Gomes, right? I mean, a guy that maybe his numbers aren't top tier on the field, but a presence and an energy that he brings on a daily basis in the clubhouse kind of helps to spur on others. Gomes was certainly that guy for a number of teams. Double play ball, Marte.
And Robbie forgot how many outs there were.
Yep.
And we'll take a look at it. It's going to be a routine double play ball. Hit firmly right at Marte. He handles it no problem. And Robbie just forgot the amount of outs.
He figured that out pretty quickly. Two outs, and Gomez given second life. He's at first.
Well, hopefully Nathan will be able to retire this next batter. He's now at 99 pitches. I think Scott Service would have been thrilled to get him through 7 innings, and that would have probably been it for him.
One and one. And getting back to that conversation, Mike, it's not often you think about an energy guy in the clubhouse being a starting pitcher, but Felix, there's no question, falls in that category.
Without question.
I mean, it's
clubhouse, dugout, when he's on the mound.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well, that's a gimme. Carnes trying to go a complete 7. 2-1. And Carnes would like a new ball. Phillies warmed up and ready to go. Keuchel tonight has gone 6 for the Astros. Two balls and 1 strike to Valbuena, batting 8th, the third baseman for Houston. Count evens up. And if Carnes can go and get one more out here and go a full 7 innings, that would mean 5 straight starts by the Mariners rotation going at least 7 innings. It started with Iwakuma and Anaheim going 8. It has made Scott Service very happy. It has given that bullpen, which has been so strong, a nice breather. 2 outs and a man at first base. The 2-2. Full count. Castro would be next. Number 9 hitter.
And a season high 103 pitches now for Carnes. Previous high was 101.
The 3-2. Got him swinging. What a way to finish for Nathan Carnes tonight. 7 scoreless innings against the Houston Astros. It's not a stretch to think you could win Washington's lottery. What would you do if you won? Download the app and play today. A beautiful shot here. Looking out at Safeco Field. 5-0. The Mariners on top of the Houston Astros. They have knocked Dallas Keuchel out of the game after 6 innings and tagged him for 5 runs. Reigning Cy Young Award winner. They have dipped into A.J. Hinch's bullpen here tonight from inside Safeco Field. And they've received some very strong pitching from Nathan Karns. Michael Feliz.
Only his second appearance on the year. 4 1/3, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks. Opponents hitting .350. His first outing did not go well. Gave up a couple of home runs.
Just called up from AAA Fresno yesterday. Back up with the big league team for the second time in this early portion of the season.
And for Dallas Keuchel, 6 innings, 6 hits, but 5 runs, all of them earned. A couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. He threw 107 pitches, 63 of those for strikes.
First pitch strike to Lee. Well, this is a rough patch for Keuchel. 6 earned his last time out, 5 earned here tonight.
Not used to seeing that.
I don't know if there's been a point in the last couple of years where he's given up 11 earned. And 2 starts combined back to back. Ball and 2 strikes to Lee. An infield single and a run scored in a 4-run 5th inning for the Mariners. Two and 2. Correa can't get to it. Leadoff single for Dayo Lee. He's 2 for 3 tonight.
Was going to get a fastball at 94 miles an hour. Inside out swings. Jammed him a little bit, but able to fight it off. Get it back up the middle.
Runner at first base for Seth Smith. Walking a run scored his last time up. Facing a right-hander for the first time tonight. Mariners entered tonight winners of back-to-back ball games. Then you zoom out a little bit more. Winners of 5 the last 6. They've won 8 of their last 11 games. Two. Seemed like it was so important after that very successful 6-3 3-city road trip to come home and for Scott Service's team to get a win in game 1 to prove to, well, whoever they felt like they needed to prove it to, maybe likely only to themselves, that momentum could carry over to Safeco Field after a very disappointing first homestand of the season, losing 5 out of 6. 3 pitches, all strikes. Smith retired. Saturday is Nelson Cruz Boomstick bobblehead night, free to the first 20,000 fans. Thanks to Root Sports. Please note the new 7:10 start time. Make sure to arrive early. Get your hands on this great collectible. So head on over to Mariners.com for tickets. But it has been a narrative in somewhat recent seasons. The Mariners' struggles here at home, and never good to start this season on the note the Mariners did here from Safeco Field. They've not lost a road series this year, but like to win last night. This one's not over with, but right now a commanding 5-0 lead, and now facing the bullpen, knocking Keuchel out. And you really can't draw it up any better than what we've seen so far.
Well, I think that when you look at this club and all the work that Jerry DiPoto and his staff put in to putting the team together because of the ballpark, you'd like to create some sort of home field advantage, if you will, where the guys are confident they can score runs and win ball games here. I think that everybody knows that they play good defense. They're going to continue to pitch well, but you have to score runs, and that's the way and the reason why they put the team together the way they did. Now, sometimes these things don't always go well the first week, like the Mariners had in the 6 games that they were home the first time. But you would hope that over the course of the summer, they'll continue to win series and put that together. And they're off to a good start here.
Two and two on Aoki. Tony Zick loosening up in the bullpen.
You have to have some sort of success to gain confidence and feel that way. And the more that you win at home, the more that it's going to be that way, and feel that you can score runs late if you need to.
Correa, low backhand. Wide throw to first base. Aoki's safe. An error on Correa. And the Mariners have 2 on with 1 out.
And we'll take a look at it. I wonder almost if Correa, 1, was having a little bit of an issue getting a grip on the ball, but 2, maybe not understanding that it was Deoli running, and they probably would have been able to get the lead runner. But you look at Houston, another part of their problem has been their defense this year. They're 14th in the American League in defense. So they've made a lot of errors.
Think about how athletic this Astros team is. Correa, Altuve, Springer, Gomez. Interesting that the defensive woes have been a problem this year. Well, this has been the night for Ketel Marte, trying to keep that trend going here in the 7th. He's gotten it done tonight at the plate, on the bases, and in the field.
He's had a good night. Mariners tonight 3 for 9 runners in scoring position, so they've been able to create some opportunities. Both of Marte's hits tonight hitting right-handed, so we'll turn around and hit left-handed for the first time tonight.
Cracked up the middle. Gomez on a hop. Lee gets the stop sign at third base. What a night for Ketel Marte. A 3-hit night. And like each hit has been driven.
He's been able to put the barrel on the ball all night long. Pretty good fastball, 94 above the belt.
Now Scott Service has referred to Marte as his swag guy. And, you know, Mike, there's something awfully charming about a grown man from Wisconsin using the word swag. You have to love that, don't you?
I thought it was K-swag.
We got a couple of swag guys, I guess, right?
For Kyle. Well, Cano's already driven in a couple of runs. Opportunity to have a big night.
And got him loaded again. Lee at third base. Aoki reached on the air by Correa. And Marte has been on base all night, it seems like. Chance for Robbie's 10th career grand slam. He calls for time. Now 1,000 RBIs in his career, thanks to his last trip up. Two and nothing.
And it's good to see the Mariners 4 for 10 runners in scoring position.
It's awfully good. Cano could really open this one up. One thing that never happened last year for the Mariners, Kyle Seager, Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz all going hot at the same time. Seeing signs from Kyle. Cruz been awfully steady so far this year. Cano has driven in 2 tonight. It'd be nice to get that 3-headed monster cooking early in April.
If you get all three of them going, even if it's just for a month, you can create a lot of damage. Probably separate yourself from other teams.
3-1. It's been a long month of April for A.J. Hinch. Bags packed, 1 out, and Cano ahead of the count. The 3-1. Robbie taking his time now, climbs inside. Payoff pitch. Stays alive. Now Zick continues to warm up inside the bullpen for the Mariners. Carnes 7 scoreless innings. Only 2 hits. And backed by 5 runs of support. And the Mariners a chance for more here with 1 out in the last of the 7th. Phillies again on 3-2. Same result.
He's been going right at him with his fastball, 94 to 95 miles an hour.
And Castro will hand deliver a new baseball. You talked about the recent success for the Mariners. The Astros, they've lost 2 in a row. They've lost 6 of their last 7. They've barely played any opponents this year within the division. Only previous series against a team from within the West, they were swept in 3 games against the Rangers. On 3-2. .96 that time. This will be at least a 9-pitch at bat here for Cano. Last night the story was Taijuan Walker, 11 strikeouts. Just a masterful start. And tonight Nathan Carnes took the baton from Taijuan as he faced off against Pfister last night. Time call. One out, bases loaded. Club to the gap in right center. Springer looking up, and a grand slam! Tenth of Cano's career. What a way to punctuate a fantastic night here from Safeco Field.
You mentioned it, 9 pitches, all of them fastballs. And Robbie finally gets a fastball down in the zone that he can handle. The rest of them were belt tie. You can see this one down, able to drop the barrel right on it. A little bit easier to get to. It hits a line drive over the fence in right center field. 6 RBIs for Cano tonight. Marte has scored 3 runs. And the Mariners are now 5 for 11 runners in scoring position. Take another look at the swing by Robert Cano. Look how low this pitch is. Just a matter of whether it was high enough, because it was hit hard enough. Right there. Inner third. Probably just below the knees.
Now 6 RBIs tonight for Cano, ties a career high. Look at 9 runs up on the board tonight for the Mariners. Last 2 at-bats for Cano has put 7 of those runs across the plate. Well, the proud owner of that grand slam ball. Three balls and 1 strike to Cruz. What a night for Cano. Cruz on a line to left field. Rasmus on a skip. Second hit tonight for Nelson. Go back to that grand slam. Just over the wall. They're able to retrieve that ball from down under. He's not letting anybody take that ball. And he got the authentication right there. First pitch low. You know, it's nice here inside Safeco Field if you get a foul ball or a home run in this case. Nice member of the Safeco Field staff will come over, give you the official paperwork, write down the date, all the details on it, and even a picture. Nice perk to catching a home run here inside Safeco Field. Still just 1 out.
Franklin Gutierrez hit the ball hard his last time up, lined out to the right fielder, looking for his first hit of the night. With all these runs being scored the night that Cano has had, maybe Nathan Carnes will get overlooked a little bit, but I thought he was terrific tonight.
And he put it in context in Carnes' career. Second time he's got at least 7 innings without allowing a run, and his first time since September of 2014. And this was truly one of the best starts of his career. We mentioned last year his success facing the Astros. Gutierrez retired.
So much to be impressed with. I thought stuff-wise it was his best stuff. He topped out at 96, hit 95 a number of times, had a really good knuckle curve tonight. And again, Chris Iannetta, as Tony Zick has been waiting for a while out in the pen. Chris Iannetta, I thought, did a nice job of making him use his changeup more tonight.
Seager with 2 outs and a man at first. And we saw him get, Mike, at least 1 strikeout on the changeup. But a pitch that I'd have to think pretty good ground ball pitch for him as well.
Well, I would think so too, Aaron. But the main thing is for him throwing it more. At least even if he misses with it and you take it for a ball, it puts it in your mind as a hitter. Just like we were talking about, just 3 pitches. Well, that's 1 more pitch that you have to think about. He's willing to throw it a number of times.
Otherwise, you know, it's just fastball, curveball.
Yeah.
Ball to 2 strikes to Seager. Now this is only game 20 for the Mariners, but this will have to go down this early season as probably the best overall game
all the way around.
All the way around for the Mariners. As we cycle mentally through the first 19. Just wait till we have to do that in June.
No, they did everything well tonight. From Carnes on the mound, the defense that we've seen, the way obviously that they've been swinging the bats, the way they ran the bases tonight.
That's a big part. That's the part that gets overlooked when you think about kind of a complete game for a team. 2-2. Well, how many times can your hitting coach, your pitching coach, and your manager all be happy at the end of the night? That's not always easy. Sometimes the offense is there, the pitching isn't. The pitching is there, the offense isn't. Seager down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts from Phillies. Grand slam number 10 of the career of Cano, the first in a Mariners uniform. 9 runs across for the Mariners tonight.
Hi, everyone. Angie Mentink here at the Ford Sports Desk. It is Twitter Tuesday, and I want to go back to our third question of the night because we asked which playing position has accounted for the most home runs in Mariners franchise history. And we're going to go ahead and give you the answer to that. Now, you might not be surprised. It's first base. First base with 889. DH coming in second, 877. I hope we didn't throw anybody with the whole outfield thing. Right fielder's actually right behind center field. Left field with 633. How about this? Alvin Davis, Richie Sexson, Tino Martinez, and John Olerud, the top 4 first basemen on the list. Those 4 right there almost account for 400 of the 889 hit by first basemen. And by the way, you see that pitcher with 1. Speaking of grand slams, we remember who hit that one, Felix Hernandez, and that home run was indeed a grand slam. Guys?
Oh, very interesting stuff there, Ange. Well, you think about Griffey. Felix is eager to talk about that grand slam any day of the week. Griffey with 630 home runs in his career, 417 coming in a Mariners uniform. Well, first base, and 380 of those as a center fielder. First base, the home run king in a Mariners uniform. Tony Zick taking over here in the 8th.
His 9th appearance, a 3.60 ERA, 15 strikeouts in 10 innings. Opponents hitting just 176. Good fastball, 95 to 97 with a slider.
Nine 1-2 due up for the Astros. Well, Well, after tying his career high with 6 RBIs and a grand slam, Cano is done for the night.
Put your feet up.
Take it easy. Luis Sardinas at second base now for the Mariners. Good chance for him to get some playing time, Mike. Haven't seen much of him lately.
I think he'll probably get a start tomorrow. Put him out there tonight. Get on the field and probably get a start somewhere tomorrow.
Now, when Scott Service was talking to the media today about Leonis Martin getting a breather tonight, his first day off, said that he's going to try to do that with a couple of guys coming up, and Cano is one. Would like to spell him as a DH, get him off his feet. So you're right. Look, that's coming up pretty soon. Castro a walk and a strikeout tonight. And he takes ball 4. Now take a look at what Nathan Carnes did tonight, Mike. This was obviously his best start of the season.
7 innings, good to see. Just 2 hits, did not give up a run. He had 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 104 pitches, 63 of those for strikes. Again, a good fastball tonight, topped out at 96. Knuckle curve was working for him. Threw his changeup a number of times. Really good performance.
And up high to Altuve. Altuve 0 for 2 tonight, a walk. Struck out on a changeup from Carnes back in the 5th. One thing we've noticed this year, Mike, especially with Tony Zych, is the speed differential from his fastball to his slider. When you think about a power arm like Zych, throwing 95 to 97 at times, you would think that his slider would be in the neighborhood of 87, maybe even 89. And it was interesting hearing Tony talk about that when he was in the late stages of his minor league career before coming over to Seattle and eventually making the majors last year. He had a slider that was in that neighborhood, upper 80s, and he really felt like opposing hitters, it was such a close difference in miles per hour to his fastball that hitters were kind of just running into his slider, and sometimes ground balls would find holes and get through. It was interesting hearing Zych talk about, he kind of took it upon himself to do some offseason research one year during the winter when he was in the minors, and he really looked at some elite level guys, late inning guys in baseball. I mentioned Craig Kimbrell. You look at a couple guys in the game now, Dylan Betances, also Andrew Miller, late inning guys for the Yankees who could close for almost any team in baseball. And he noticed that with those guys, they had a much wider gap between their fastball and their breaking ball, and we saw that. You bring up Betances, for example, 96 maybe on his fastball, to curve at 85. Miller, fastball 97, slider 86, and a much more sweeping slider that has resulted in fantastic outs. Ball 4 to Altuve.
Well, and I think that it's not just the speed, Aaron. When Mel Stottlemyre going to make a trip out, try to help Tony out, really struggling with his fastball command tonight, is when I watch Tony and he throws that slider, it's more the depth of it. You mentioned that his old slider kind of running to the barrel. Well, it's because it's flat. It's on the same plane. And then you add that it's close enough to his fastball, it's going to find the barrel more. So now you look at his slider, it has more depth to it, and that's kind of where the curve part comes into it. And with that depth, it makes it more difficult to hit. And then you subtract the extra 5 miles an hour off of it, because his slider is 83, maybe 81 at times. Now you have problems as a hitter, especially because he has the 95 to 97.
And who's saying that a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago at this point, when he was in the minors, he was kind of tinkering with his arm slot, and he brought his arm slot up a little bit higher and was trying to throw a curveball out of that slot, and it just wasn't working for him. But he's taken that mentality with the motion that he was throwing with his curveball to now his slider, and has gripped it a little differently than he did before, mostly with how he overlaps 2 fingers on the ball. Into center, Aoki on a hop. Gets past him, Castro getting waved in. Altuve making Springer into second base. He's safe, and the Astros hit their first runs tonight. Castro, that leadoff walk coming around to score. Altuve into third.
Eric Kratz, the backup catcher, getting loose in the bullpen.
How about that?
But with what's going on in this inning, that may change. Tony's struggling here. There'll be a base hit and an error on the center fielder, Aoki.
That one missing one. Micah Montgomery getting loose. That base hit for Springer extends his hitting streak now to 6 games. So no shutout here tonight from Safeco Field. There's a strike to make it 1-1. We've talked at times before, Mike, about the difference between movement and life on a pitch. Movement being that which you try to manipulate with the grip, for example, and life, something that just kind of naturally happens. And it seems like at times this year, Tony's had almost too much life on his fastball.
Or too much movement. He goes back and forth with it. Sometimes we've talked about it, even on the road trip. He has tremendous run to his fastball, and where he's expecting it to end up, it ends up off the plate away to a lefty or into the righty.
Good weak wave and a miss there. Down with a slider. Much needed out, number 1. Now Correa just 1 hit so far in this series. This game 2. Mariners done a nice job holding him down. One out, 2 in scoring position for Colby Rasmus, who had 1 of 2 hits against Carnes. Both those hits singles, by the way. Good stop by Annetta. I've been really impressed this year, Mike, with Chris Iannetta behind home plate, and Dan Wilson taking over this year, a new position, Mariners defensive coordinator, and Dan in the house, in the dugout multiple times each homestand.
Had a good conversation with Dan today. We talk a lot about Iannetta, the veteran of the group. I wanted to talk to Dan about Clevenger, the backup catcher, and he was really impressed. This is a guy that was an infielder at one point. They changed to a catcher, and so Danny had a chance to work a lot with him during spring training. And even Scott Servais said at the end of camp that he was really happy with the way that Clevenger had moved along as a catcher.
He has produced for the most part when he's been in the lineup. You know, Zick has a changeup that he'll use from time to time. That pitch only 81 miles an hour. We don't see it often. Maybe a good pitch to use on a power lefty like Rasmus. 1 out, 2 in scoring position. High fly ball. Sardinius giving way to the big man behind him. Out number 2. Well, if this score holds, Mariners will go for the sweep tomorrow as we take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Masashi Iwakuma, 8 innings, 2 runs in his last start. That was on the road in Anaheim. Off to a strong start to the season by and large, taking on Colin McHugh, who was really scuffled, an ERA over 7.5. Opposing hitters batting just south of 400 against him. Mike Montgomery continues to warm up.
I'll be curious to see what McHugh has tomorrow, because it seems that he always pitches well against the Mariners.
Well, he had his breakout here a couple of years ago. The joke was Colin McHugh, and he took off from there. McHugh, who was given up on by the Rockies, by the Mets. Astros loved his curveball. Signed him, and he's been able to latch into the rotation a couple of years now.
I believe what they really liked was the spin rate of his curveball there.
They did. Mike. So proud, Mike. So proud. You save that for tomorrow night, though, Mike.
I will.
Into the shift. Marte. 2 left. A run in for the Astros. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mariners in control. Robinson Cano, his 10th career Grand Slam, his first in a Mariners uniform. He's got 7 home runs this year, Mike. 21 ribbies now in 20 games.
Yeah, it's great to see him off to a fast start. We all remember some of the struggles he had in April last year. That has not been the case. We talked about it throughout spring training, how finally healthy and turning on the ball. We've certainly seen that. Hitting the fastball with authority here in April.
And those 6 RBIs, it looks as though that he is now leading All-American League hitters in RBIs, as well. He was catching last night behind the plate. Now he's on top of the mound. Eric Kratz, who had some experience pitching to the minor leagues. This will be his first time up on a major league mound.
Good work digging out those numbers. A 6 ERA in the minors.
Base hit for Iannetta. So A.J. Hinch not wanting to waste arms in the bullpen, down by 7 runs. Pardon me, 8 runs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Calling on his backup catcher. Kratz, as we mentioned last night, was actually a member of the Rainiers for 10 games last year.
The Astros used a couple of relievers in last night's game, but then they had the long extra inning game before the series started. So trying to save some arms out in that pen.
Now, Mike, we've talked about this over the years, what it's like as a hitter facing a position player in these desperate innings, just trying to get some outs. And it's not fun for a position player. I mean, you would think you'd be licking your chops, right? A guy who's going to be coming in, probably not throwing that hard, with maybe one breaking ball to offer, but not as easy as it sounds.
Well, you can't win in this situation because you're a major league hitter. You're supposed to get a hit off of a backup catcher, but you're eventually going to hit it at somebody. The one thing you don't want to do is strike out.
Might hear about that one.
Oh, I think so.
Routine play for Correa. 1 out, 1 on. Inetta at second after the wild pitch.
What you really don't want to see is a guy out there throwing a slow curveball and a knuckleball.
You know, along those lines, last year the Astros had a blowout win at Yankee Stadium, and former Mariners shortstop Brendan Ryan got to pitch.
Yeah, see, now knowing Brendan, that would be terrible because he would change arm angles and throw sliders. He would do everything.
Well, that was the great thing about it. Smith steps in. Brendan talked afterwards about it. Well, first of all, one of the first men that he faced was Evan Gattis. And he just said out loud, please don't hit it right back at me. Please don't hit it right back at me. You're going to kill me.
Well, the good news for him is he has good hands. I think he'd have been able to handle it.
But Brendan said afterwards that when he was up on the mound, he thought about all the aces that he had played behind as a shortstop. And he tried to throw Felix's changeup a number of times. He tried to throw Wainwright's curveball. I mean, that sounds like Brendan Ryan.
Also sounds like he was the only one having fun.
You're right. Inetta at second base. A win tonight, a Mariners series win. Setting up to sweep tomorrow. Mike Montgomery in line to work the ninth. Oh boy, where did that one go?
Look at the guys on their bench.
Scott Feldman getting a laugh out of that. No, Mike, that's a wild pitch.
Good call. And it looked like he was going to try to throw a curveball. Oh, it was a split. He had the split.
This doesn't exactly spur the conversation about perceived velocity. A run will come in, a couple of wild pitches after a leadoff single. And the Mariners get their 10th run of the night. Inetta, a leadoff single, comes around to score. And brings in Aoki for the 5th time. There's a strike.
Been on base a couple of times, scored twice.
Some lonely Astros fans here tonight, sticking it out. Still 1-2. It's really remarkable when you think about the struggles this year for the Astros. Keuchel last year pitched the wild card game in the Bronx. They took down the Yankees. Then a tremendous series against the Royals, the divisional series. That was a series that at certain points you really thought was in the Astros' hands. And a lot of people talked about the Astros last year as being the Royals from the year before. Very athletic, very aggressive team. Made for a great story, just like Kansas City did the season before. Tight to the line, a foul ball.
I guess the biggest difference that I would see between the two is the Royals don't strike out.
That is the glaring difference.
Yeah.
It's two teams can be aggressive, but can be more selectively aggressive is maybe the best way to put it. Aggressive within the strike zone.
Right, exactly. Aggressive inside the strike zone.
Mariners will see Kansas City for a weekend series Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The King will be up on the hill Friday night. Saturday night, remember that game has been moved back an hour to 7:10. The viaduct will be closed. Pass Correa. First hit tonight for Aoki. And it pushes Smith, who reached on an RBI single into second base.
And right now, Eric Kraft just wanted to hit the ball at somebody. Next pitch will be 20. He's going to be sore tomorrow. It's one thing to get your work in as a catcher, but you stand up on that mound and it's completely different. Well, the night Marte has had. Marte tonight 3 for 4, a double, an RBI, and he's scored 3 runs. And looked pretty good at shortstop.
Really has.
Yeah.
.63 miles an hour, nothing at 2. Have you been able to notice any differences between the Marte that we've seen really on the back end of the road trip, starting with maybe the series in Anaheim, watch out, and the Marte that we saw go through that, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 game slump where Scott Service let him sit for a day here and there to kind of let him regroup a little bit?
I think that his swing from the right side has been fine. One of the things I noticed as this go to the backstop with him is hitting left-handed. His timing with the fastball was off. He was late. And now that is no longer the case. He's been able to figure that one out. I'm sure Edgar Martinez had a lot to do with that. But he's back on time again, and that's the reason why he's hitting everything on the barrel.
Runners advance in what's ruled a pass ball. Gobbled up by White at first base. Run comes in. That's Smith. 11-1 Mariners. So Marte tacks on his second RBI tonight.
Aoki moves up to third.
Now Cano's sitting, pardon me, Sardinia's taken over for Cano, who finished the night with 6 RBIs, that tied a career high. Now, Mike, in that grand slam at bat, we mentioned this last night, maybe it wasn't an at bat to Cruz. Young reliever Michael Feliz facing Cano, who now has over 1,000 RBIs in his career. You start getting into 6, 7, 8 pitches, turned out to be a 9-pitch at bat, and as a hitter, especially an exceptional hitter as Cano, boy, the odds really start to tilt in his favor, and they did.
Well, he's fouled off a number of pitches at 95 that were up in the zone. The minute he had one down, he gave it a pretty good ride.
Got over the wall. Mariners get 2 more runs off the backup catcher, Eric Kratz. Here comes Montgomery.
The ninth, and gosh, I don't know how we're gonna stuff everything into Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Robbie Cano hits 1,000 RBIs and then blows right past it. We will hear from Cano, fresh off tying his career high with 6 RBI. Plus, we'll hear from the skipper and relive a classic Ken Griffey Jr. moment on the 26th anniversary. All that and a preview of tomorrow's game 3 of the series coming up on Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Guys.
All right, well, thank you. We go to the top of the 9th inning. And here is Mike Montgomery. A lot to get caught up on the postgame show.
Mike has really thrown the ball well out of the bullpen. First time he's ever been a reliever. And we've seen a lot of that. Coming in, throwing strikes. His fastball's been 94, 95. Has a good curveball. Mix in a changeup. This will be his 6th appearance. ERA just over 4. Has been coming down. He had 1 bad outing. Opponent's hitting just .219 off of him.
I don't think we can take for granted the success for Mike Montgomery this year, Mike, because you can't just assume that a starting pitcher with some good velocity as a lefty as in Mike Montgomery, as he gets a very routine fly ball out here to start off the top of the 9th. I don't think you can just assume that you can plug and play, put him into the bullpen, and that it's automatically going to work. Obviously, Scott Servais was hoping that was the case with no Charlie Furbush coming out of camp, but he's been exceptional.
Well, the one thing you like is you like his stuff, and the other part about it is, as a starter, he's had the ability to throw strikes. So those are 2 things. Now, whether he's able to do that coming out of the pen is the question mark. And I think for Scott, he's kind of brought him along slowly. And right now, signs are good for Charlie to move forward in his rehab and getting himself back to the mound. But I think he was worth taking a chance on, and he's starting to gain a lot of confidence from Scott Servais because of the stuff that he has. So, and the thing I like is they went to him, probably with a couple of weeks to go in spring training, to let him know he's not going to be one of the starters, and if you want to be on this club, you have to go out in the bullpen, and he accepted it. So they were able to at least get him somewhat started on that process in spring training.
That was huge. The 1-2. Speaking of Charlie Furbush, saw him in the clubhouse today. A day off in terms of throwing for Charlie today after throwing yesterday and the 2 days prior. So things pointing in the right direction. Off his foot. Mariners are 2 outs away from going to 11-9 on the season. Came into today holding the top spot in the division by half a game. Well, really ties up Gomez. 1 out remaining. Mariners won it last night, 3-2, a nail-biter. Cishek got the win. Peralta worked the 8th inning, got the hold. Taijuan Walker was electric. Tonight, much more lopsided in the Mariners' favor. One ball and 1 strike to Valbuena. Many sticking around here tonight on a little bit of a cool evening. Looking to celebrate a Mariners win.
Looking forward to seeing Iwakuma tomorrow. See if he can build on his last outing. He went 8 innings, gave up a couple of runs. Really looked good.
Well, he's the one who started the trend. Now 5 consecutive starts from the rotation of at least 7 innings. Two balls and 2 strikes to Valbuena. Mariners will go for the sweep tomorrow. Castro on deck with 2 outs. Down on strikes. That's your ball game. 11-1. The Mariners take down the Astros, and your Seattle Mariners have won 4 consecutive series. What a job by the Mariners. Ketel Marte, a big night. Mariners win this one, a final score of 11-1. As we are coming right back. Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines begins in 90 seconds.